A new patch for Manor Lords has recently been released today, and if you are like me who has been dumping hours upon hours into this game, this is a very bit of exciting news, and we are going to dive into just what this new patch adds right now. So for anyone that didn't know, a brand new experimental patch has dropped today for Manor Lords, and with it comes a slew of changes. Many of them are at the request of the players who have been giving very positive and negative feedback to the creator, but he is listening to his player base and he's made some very much needed changes. These changes go all over the place, with changing just how trading can be done, is done, increasing prices in some areas, lowering prices in others, and changing battlefield mechanics and damage outputs. So for all of you who are interested in actually trying this beta, before we get into it, all you have to do is follow these instructions that I'll put on the screen for you right here. It is very straightforward, very quick. It takes about 30 seconds, and then the game will update, and you are in here playing this new beta on this incredible game. But let's get into it. So some of the things that the creator wanted to fix were some of the most common reported issues. Those stem from the clogged trading posts, or the game being stuck at the summary screen after a victory or game over, insufficient marketplace supplies, overly high ale consumption, those bloody drunkards, and people or livestock staying homeless even though there is living space in the settlement. I have come across that myself, and it can be infuriating. Along with another list of items which we have on the screen here for you to see. The nice thing is that the creator actually is listening to the player base and trying to actively better the game and not just taking it slow. So be happy, because that is not something that we get to come across too often with a lot of game creators. The game is the game, and you are kind of at their pace as to when they want to fix it. However, we have a creator here who is listening to the player base in the forums and trying to better the game with every little patch that comes out. One of the things that has been added to this experimental patch, which I have to be honest is could be very interesting and very helpful, is right here. Additionally, to make the trading between regions easier, he made sure that players can use trading posts to trade between their own regions without using barter or pack stations. That's huge. Yeah, you couldn't do that, or you can't do that in the normal game as it stands right now. But the ability to trade between their own regions, I mean, that's going to save loads of time and money if you think about it. The ability to go have one region that has numerous amounts, copious amounts of ore, if you will, and then be able to trade that or just get that to your next region so they can use it to buffer up their area and their region. And then the other side of the region that has a plethora of food that they can help the mining region to boost their happiness, as well as the ability to feed the crew. Very big, instead of having to just rely on trading routes and spending the amount of money that we do, unfortunately, to get these trade routes going. Another thing that they'll be adding is the fact that when a person dies, there is going to be a 30-day mourning period that blocks growth. So when someone in your village dies, whether it be through natural causes, in battle, I imagine, it doesn't go into specifics, but I imagine as well as in battle, when you click on a burgage plot, you are going to see this symbol that says Mourning, and on this example it says days left 28, and there will be no growth. Now I imagine that is obviously through the family. There won't be another family member that joins or anything. It's so you have one whole month where they're going to be mourning the loss of their loved one, and there won't be any growth in that burgage plot. So, which could play a significant role if you are caught by bandits who knock out 10 of your people. Now you've got 10 burgage plots that are going to be mourning for 28 days, 30 days, and there isn't going to be any growth. It could certainly set you back. So it just brings the importance of having your men ready for battle, getting the supplies you need, and or being ready and having the mercenaries at the ready so you aren't overrun by raiders and or invading armies. Other little things that have been added in the update, which are quite nice to see, are just some aesthetic type things. New armor that the creator has implemented. The fact that when villagers are carrying corpses, they now have visual representation when they're taken to the graveyard. New upgraded retinue armor variations were added, which are very cool to look at. I haven't really dibble-dabbled in this too much in the game, but the ability to customize your the retinue is actually really cool. They're kind of expensive though, but nonetheless very cool. And a new royal tax called the King's Tax. The royal taxes are collected annually from each region with settlement level small village and above. The rate is 1 treasury per resident per settlement level. So now the King's Tax has been implemented. You will be able to do that. That could be very interesting to see how that plays with the happiness, the overall happiness of every village. But here it is straight from the creator. So he re-implemented again the mechanic called the annual royal tax and or the King's Tax. It looks like he's still trying to decide on the name, and it's a tax that is collected from the treasury once per year, goes to the king, that is calculated per resident, and in theory should slightly punish bad workplace optimization and make it more difficult to hoard huge amounts of cash. So I guess for all of you out there that are trying to hoard the cash, you're not going to be able to do that anymore. Here we go. The King's Tax could be very cool. Other little aesthetic things that they've done. It looks like he's reworked the granary building, kind of given it a little facelift, and the doors are now properly animating, which is very nice to see. And a new Patreon was added, the Saint Maurice, new, I'm assuming, mercenaries, which is interesting regarding this picture because it's bowmen. And that brings me to something that I am very excited about regarding this patch, is the very fact that one of the big complaints was that archery units were incredibly weak, almost bloody useless to even put together and make a unit of, because they simply just didn't do enough damage. You could sit there, and I have, and have archers go back and forth at each other. One unit versus one unit while all your swordsmen were waiting behind your men to charge. And you'd be lucky if after 20 volleys of arrows from either side, 1 and or 2 soldiers were killed. And it was just absolutely ridiculous. So what they've done here, actually, and some of the big fixes that they've changed, is they've increased the warbow range attack from 4 to 12. So, I mean, 3 times the damage. Now, hopefully you're going to start seeing soldiers dropping like flies as they charge towards bowmen. I say dropping like flies, but let's be honest. If you have a pack of 30 men, I would hope that before they made the 100-yard dash, they would lose at least 8 of those men before they even got to your front lines, if you have archers sending volley upon volley of arrows their way. It'll be nice to see. That's something I'm honestly really looking forward to. But other gameplay and balances that they've fixed, I mean, there is a plethora in this experimental patch. It's quite incredible. But big things that I kind of picked out is when villagers are consuming food, they will now pick random food resources instead of eating a food in a specific order. So just kind of mix up that variety a little, not just focusing one thing and then that goes out and going to another. They tend to be a little picky. And another thing they've changed is that when you're establishing a trade route, the merchants will no longer all spawn on the nearest trade point. Instead, the game will distribute the merchants in a circle or to a circle between various trade points in order to make the building trading posts right on the edge of the region less optimal. Along with that comes the cost of opening new trade routes now scales exponentially with every open trade route. So be prepared to be paying more out of your pocket just to start opening more of these trade routes, which makes sense. You can't, I think that one perk was kind of overpowered in that I think it limited a lot of the trade routes or new trade routes to 10, or being able to, essentially it lowered your trading so you weren't spending too much money. It kind of made it a little easy once you started getting villages that were growing and the money was steadily coming in. It's actually pretty significant when you actually look at all the major changes, the gameplay imbalances, as well as the minor changes that have been changed. Super little things that you wouldn't even think about have been added to this new patch. So those are some of the changes that you're going to get in this patch if you download it. I have put the patch in and played for quite a few hours, and I have to say the difference in gameplay is very noticeable. And the sheer fact that my archers are actually doing damage and knocking out enemies left, right, and center now makes a world of difference. I mean, honestly, you have to get this patch, you have to install it, get it on, opt into this experimental patch because you're not going to regret it. You're going to really actually enjoy Manor Lords. I've already been enjoying it and put in tens of hours just since it's been out, and I will put in many more now, especially with this patch, and who knows what's going to be the next major patch that comes out. But if you haven't tried it, please get over to Steam. Again, here are the instructions on how to download this patch and start playing Manor Lords with all these new changes. And be sure to get over to the forums, because again, this is a creator who is listening to its fan base, to the player base, and you just don't get that very often in the gaming community. Very few games where the creators are going to actually listen to the player base and make changes based on what is being said. Absolutely amazing. Really looking forward to where Manor Lords is going. But what are some changes that everyone here would like to see? What are some things that maybe you didn't see in the list that you would like to see changed and or added in the coming patches for the future of Manor Lords? But anyways, that is going to do it for this video. It was very quick, but just wanted to get it out there that there is a new patch out there. You guys need to get out there, try it, give it a whirl, and please comment down below. Let me know what you guys thought of the video and what you think of the new patch if you have installed it already and are playing. And if you enjoyed the video, please hit that likes up so it gets out to many more that they can see it. And if you want to see more on Manor Lords and other videos, please hit that subscription button. But I'm going to get back at it, start building a bigger city, and start ruling the new world of Manor Lords. And until then, I hope you all have an incredible day. Take it easy, okay?